Hey, you three, let's have a talk. It's not difficult to be a good Transformers movie. It's not hard. I've just seen it. It can be done. It can be... What? Yeah, okay. Yeah, you were alright. You're not involved in this, but you two, you are. You two are so bad. There's no 4 and 5 there. I didn't buy them because you were so awful. Damn you, Michael Bay. Damn you, Transformer testicles on a pyramid.
Put the bunny back in the box.
Starring amongst others, Haley Steinfeld, John Cena, Jorge Lindeborg Jr., I think is how you say his name, John Ortiz, Jason Drucker and Pamela Adlon, directed by Travis Knight off of a screenplay by Christina Hobson. This is my review for Bumblebee. So, Bumblebee is a prequel to the Transformers movies directed by Michael Bay. I kind of hope they don't stick to being a prequel. I hope they become their own thing, but we'll get to that. But it is a prequel. It happens in the 80s, before Shia LaBeouf came on the scene, before Megan Fox bent over a car. This is long before those days, and this is Bumblebee's first time on Earth. And it's the first time that we know that the Transformers have appeared on Earth, unless that whole Arthurian stuff... Just going to forget the Transformers lore at this point because it makes my head explode. But from what we see here, this is the first time they land on Earth. They're escaping Cybertron because it's on the brink of destruction, and they're looking for a new place to hide out. Bumblebee is essentially the scout party. He's gone first. He needs to make sure the planet's safe, and then the other Transformers will come and join him. But there's a couple of Decepticons hot on his tail, and them, along with the army, are trying to bring him down. So, in case you couldn't tell, I don't really like the Transformers movies that much. I think the first one is good. Like, the first live-action one, I think, is the best of the bunch until now. The second one is awful. The third one's marginally better, but it's still not great, and I haven't even bothered with 4 and 5. I wanted to see 4 because I heard it was going to be a reboot of sorts, and then I started getting the general reactions from people that it was basically more of the same crap again and again. And the same with number 5. Like, I lost so much interest in this franchise that I didn't even bother seeing them, and I see pretty much every major release that comes out now, and the Transformers movies, they're not even on my radar. I wouldn't even review them for this channel. But Bumblebee seemed to be something different. Having Travis Knight at the helm piqued my interest. He did Kubo and the Two Strings, which is great. And yeah, it seemed like this was going in a different direction. The trailers I thought were really good, and I was just really excited. And I was really excited to be excited for a Transformers movie again, because I hadn't been since the second one, and that was a bit of disappointment. So it's been a long time since anything Transformers related made me, yes, can't wait to see it. This one was, and I'm so happy that it didn't disappoint. Because I think the thing that this does so well, and the thing that it understands, is that the connection between the Transformer, in this case Bumblebee, and the human character has to be done extremely well. It has to be a relationship and a connection between the two of them that the audience can get behind, that they can root for, and they absolutely do this. Haley Steinfeld is incredible in this movie. She is so good. She brings so much to the role, more than Shia LaBeouf or Mark Wahlberg could ever do. So I've not seen those Mark Wahlberg Transformers movies, but I'm just guessing that he's not that good in them. But she just brings, as I say, so much to the proceedings, so much to the table. There's so many layers to her character, and she gets them all. The more crazier moments of the movie feel grounded because of her performance, because of how she conducts herself and how she embodies this character. This film would have been so much less without somebody of her talent in it. And yeah, I'm blown away by how good she was in this one, because I'm so used to half-assed performances in these films, and there are a few of them in this one. John Cena, we'll get to. But yeah, I absolutely loved her, and almost as importantly, I bloody loved Bumblebee. This was the first time, really, since that first movie, and even that didn't do it brilliantly well, that I genuinely just found myself wanting a Transformer. I wanted a Bumblebee, because he's such a sweet character in this one. For a robot that can't talk and can only kind of communicate via song lyrics or radio clips, there's so much humanity to this character. He's vulnerable, he's also fierce, he's unsure of where he is in the world, he's trying to be protective, but he's also scared. You get all of these emotions from Bumblebee, or Bee as it's affectionately called, throughout this film, and I was really, really impressed by that. I wasn't expecting to care about Bumblebee as much as I did, but by the time this movie ended, I want more time with him. I want this whole franchise to just start again from this point onwards and just carry on, pretending the Michael Bay movies never happened. Let's explore these characters as we got them now, because they're infinitely more interesting. Even characters like Optimus Prime, who we don't see a huge amount of in this film, he's interesting in this one. It just seems like this is the film, and this was the director and the scriptwriter that got the Transformers, that got what it's meant to be and how entertaining it can be if it's not bogged down by a load of crap. The crap's removed from this one. The story is relatively straightforward. It just follows a very, very simple path, but it's so much better for it. The human characters in this one, aside from Steinfeld, are all great too. I say John Cena. I like John Cena a lot. In this movie, there are times where I really liked him and times where I was a little bit unsure, but he never kind of went too far over to the negative, so I like him overall. The parent characters in this were a big relief because they weren't just comedic relief from this one, they were actual characters, as was the little brother as well. There were no dogs humping, there were no testicles swinging on pyramids, there was none of the really over-the-top ridiculousness that the other films had, and those are the silly human characters that the other movies have. This doesn't have them. There are times, particularly there's a male character in this one, Haley Steinfeld's stepdad sort of character. He veers that he could become a little bit too silly, but he pulls it back. This film knows when to show restraint in ways that Michael Bay's films couldn't even dream of. And yeah, you know, it does follow a lot of familiar beats of E.T. It does. There's no getting around that fact. But if it does... Actually, you know, I'm going to have to at least knock it off a point for that, because the more I think about it, the more blatant it is. But it at least is able to do it in its own sort of way. It's able to do it while feeling fresh at the same time. And yeah, it is a shame that they couldn't be a little more original with this story. As I say, a lot of the beats in this one do follow E.T. quite closely, but it still felt like its own thing enough that it didn't bother me too much. And the action in this is great as well. I mean, the less you show, the better it is, apparently, with Transformers, because we don't get battles through cities. We don't get yet another... Is it Chicago that keeps getting destroyed in the Transformers movies? We don't get big citywide destruction here. This feels relatively small scale. For a Transformers movie, at least, even though we do open on Cybertron, which, by the way, it was amazing. Seeing Cybertron live action on the big screen was just as incredible as I expected. It pops up twice, and both times are just as exhilarating as the time before. I could see a whole lot more said on Cybertron, to be honest. But aside from that, it's set in a very, very small part of America. As I say, there's no big wanton destruction. There is destruction, there is explosions, there is all of that, but it doesn't feel like it's overdone. It doesn't feel like it's there just because Michael Bay gets a hard-on for explosions. It doesn't feel like that at all. Everything, as I say, it feels low-key, and that is the smartest thing this movie could have done, I think, is ground it a little bit. Don't make it so big. Make it relatively confined to these small group of characters that we have. And if they keep doing that with future movies, this could be a franchise that's actually genuinely good. Because I've wanted the Transformers to be good for such a long time, and this is the first time I've left a screening of one, as I say, for ages, just genuinely being pleased. I had a smile on my face through so much of this movie because of the performances, because of the funny moments in the script, and there are some genuinely really funny moments, particularly involving Bumblebee. The soundtrack is amazing, obviously very rooted in the 80s as when it's set, and it picks some pretty familiar songs from the 80s, but they were used really well nonetheless. But yeah, I just really loved Bumblebee. There's not a huge amount of problems that I've got with it. There are some pacing issues occasionally that do seep in, but it's nothing too distracting. There's one or two characters that don't feel like genuine characters. Like there's a doctor in this movie who just feels a bit like a panto villain. Like he doesn't have any kind of depth to the character at all, really. So that's a shame. And there's a few people like that scattered throughout that do bring things down a little bit, and that E.T. thing. But on the whole, sort of overall, this is just such an enjoyable film. Start to finish, pretty much. Smile on my face. Had a great time. Loved Bumblebee. Want to see another sequel to this. Really hope they just go, no, fuck the other timeline. Let's just carry on with this one. Really hope they do that. I want to see a Bumblebee 2. I want to see Haley Steinfeld's character come back into this. There's even a love story in this one, sort of, that I kind of got invested in. And it doesn't go in the kind of predictable way. It didn't end the way I was expecting it to. But I got invested in that. And I genuinely wasn't expecting that at all. There was a lot from this movie I wasn't expecting. It's a really good time. I'm going to give Bumblebee an 8 out of 10. Have you seen Bumblebee yet? If so, let me know what you think about it in the comments below, and what's your favourite or your least favourite, which is probably easier to answer Transformers movie as well. And let me know what 4 and 5 are like. Are they as bad as I've heard? Age of Extinction and The Last Night, are they terrible? So what I've heard is that they're not good at all, so I've never got around to watching them. Even if you tell me they're good, I probably still won't, but it'd be nice to know what people think about them at least. Do hit like and subscribe on this video if you did enjoy it and you want to see more of them. More reviews coming soon, and we're at that point of the year now where the best of and worst of lists are coming. So I'm going to do a top 10 movies, worst 10 movies as we come up to the end of the year. I just need to see Mary Poppins Returns first, just to make sure that she doesn't sneak into the top 10, because I kind of hope she does. And if she does, it makes it a little bit more difficult, because I've already got my numbering sorted out. She'll ruin things. But yeah, I'm excited for Mary Poppins Returns. There'll be a review for that coming, I think, next week. You can follow me on Twitter, @JoeJulians, if you want to channel on there. That's also my name on Stardust. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next video.